What's up, people? I'm back at it again. Third video. We're doing this. We're doing this right. We're doing this the right way. As you can see, we're back again. Or back here again with another movie review. This is going to be for Hush, the movie I watched last night. Um, it came out in 2016. Um, Excellent movie in my opinion. Very excellent movie. By far, probably my favorite movie of the three I've watched so far, which is saying a lot because I really thought The Thing was really good, and I didn't think anything was gonna touch it until I watched Hush. Um, Maddie Young, uh, who was the protagonist of the film, the main character that we followed, was an excellent protagonist. Her, despite her disabilities and everything that they showcased throughout the film, uh, the character of Maddie Young was like superbly smart, and like every decision that she was making, despite her disability or weakness for the film, was like super smart. Things I couldn't even probably think of if I was in her shoes, which is really awesome. Her disability being that she is deaf, I think is the correct term. So she can't hear like at all. She can't hear any sound at all because of I think in the film they said it was an illness she got when she was 13, if I remember correctly. She got an illness when she was 13, and because of that, uh it ended up causing her to lose her ability to hear. So, despite the fact that she wasn't able to hear, she worked around that disability to really showcase how smart she was as a character, and also showcase how how I don't know how yeah, I guess it's how smart she was as a character. The fact this film, uh I know I was just talking about the characters, but briefly touching on the subject of her being death and everything. This film really plays into that by cutting out the sound at certain points, so we kind of get a glimpse or an understanding as to how the character was feeling, or how they were experiencing that moment throughout the film. And like this whole setting and everything, this whole concept was like really amazing. The fact that this movie revolves around the death character, so they play into that fact with a lot of the audio cues, a lot of, or lack thereof, audio cues. And it was really good concept, and I think they really delivered on it. It kind of set the standard for me personally for home invasion movies, which I really enjoyed. On top of that, we had the going back to the characters, we had the man, who we don't he's the antagonist of the film. We don't ever find out his name, which I don't think we really need to, because the film was just based around Maddie fighting the man, our antagonist. And I thought that this character did a really good job at being a foil to her. To her, he was an excellent villain for this film. He played into and immediately realized her situation, and was kind of playing into that. He was overconfident and cocky as a villain, but despite that, it wasn't like a cockiness where you didn't take him seriously. It was like a cockiness and where it was like, okay, he's messing around with her, but at any point in time, he could just go in for the kill, and you would 100% believe it, and the movie would be over, and it would be justifiable and make sense. So he was a threatening, kind of cocky, like, despite him being an arrogant bastard who, like, some people might not take seriously at first glance. He showcased throughout the film how not only smart he was and well prepared he was for like a situation like this, him being a killer and everything and going out and killing people, but how methodical and evil he was as a character. which I really enjoyed. And I think both characters played well off of each other. Maddie being an excellent protagonist to the man's foil of a dastardly villain, which I really liked. The tension, suspense, and surprisingly the gore of this film were outstanding. I felt tense throughout the whole film, and like that's it might not be saying something to others, but like I don't normally get super tense during films, but this was very like high tense bar for me. Probably in due part because of the audio effects and the sound design that they went to play into the fact that the main character was deaf and she lost her hearing. The suspense as well, due in part to that as well, was off the charts because whenever they like kind of went silent and everything, you didn't know what was happening. You didn't know if he was just gonna like somehow had broken into the house and popped in. There's scenes where they kind of do that, or they do that, and you're so like tensed up and suspenseful of what's happening or what's going to happen. And I feel like they did a really good job with this. And then the gore as well. There are scenes in here that made me cringe horribly. There's this one scene in particular where the villain gets the upper hand on Maddie, and it's just so brutal and gory, and the sound design that they gave to like the action was really good. And the way that Maddie, despite kind of being a silent protagonist as well, not only was she not like were there times where we couldn't hear her, but she also hardly like screamed or was vocal. Uh, she very well displayed her pain, like visibly, and with like her movements and stuff, and like her convulsing or whatever. Whenever she got hurt or injured, they played really well into that as well. Um, I would say, going back to the characters and everything, I would say that like they also made believable choices and decisions. Like throughout the film, despite the main character being a cocky, arrogant bastard and wanting to drag out this violence in his kill because he wanted to have fun with it, I think they all made believable decisions. Obviously, you could kind of put yourself in the killer in the shoe or in the killer's shoes, and you could be like, well, I would have just like game ended her at the start or whatever. But because he's an arrogant, cocky kind of person, and because he wanted to let this drag out and everything, it makes a lot of sense that with all the decisions he made following that initial decision, that he would go about doing things the way he did, which I really enjoyed. And despite that, they also made Maddie like her decisions and everything make so much credible sense and everything. And then they also made her like seem strong, despite most people like believing that because of her disability that she would be weak throughout the film or have like a huge disadvantage. She actually did really well despite that. Like they really make you believe like that she's a credible threat against this guy, despite her disability, which I really like. I really like that. I really like that aspect of the film. In terms of like home invasion movies, specifically horror in particular, I feel like this is like kind of like the precedent of how you want to do that. Not entirely like by the whole making your character have like some disability or something in which they can't really hear or see or something like that, and then basing your movie around that and like copy and pasting that, but like using sound design and audio cues and like the acting and the portrayal of the characters. I feel like this set like a huge precedent for other home invasions, and I really like hope that going forward, obviously this movie came out in 2016, but I hope like going forward a lot of if people do more home invasion horror movies, that they take a lot of inspiration for this, or at least look at this film and try and like see what they can adapt from it to make it their own, or to add their own twist and spin on it to make it as good, if not better, than this film. To add on to that, the atmosphere was great, which adds on to the whole this film being, at least for me, uh, the trendsetter, the bar holder, or the placeholder for like how invasion horror movies or home invasion horror movies should go. Because the atmosphere of this movie was great, and like it really added to the whole presentation of everything, of the characters, of the setting, of the audio design, of like everything. It like kind of congealed all together to create this perfect atmosphere that really like heightened the film for me. Um, Interesting fact about this film that I was like, because I was doing some research on the side, is that it's considered a slasher, which I guess makes sense. I just more so contribute slashers with like high body counts, which is why I was like kind of put off by this. But it's considered a slasher movie, which is cool. I can kind of see it, but the more realistic genre settings that I saw people saying and what it was listed as was a horror thriller, which makes sense. Um, it was like, obviously it's a horror movie, but then it was also like a thriller, a suspenseful thriller as you're following Maddie and seeing her trying to work her way around the situation that she landed herself in. But with that all being said, this film is like damn near perfect for me. It was like I'd give this like a 9 out of 10, like straight up. Maybe on like when I give it more thought and like not having just seen it, I'll be able to rank it or score it better. Maybe lower, maybe higher, but it could easily be a 10 out of 10. Like this is one of my favorite horror movies that I've seen in a while. Most of these horror movies that I'm reviewing or going to be watching, I haven't seen. Some of them I have, and I'll say that in my videos. But I didn't see this one. I've seen kill counts from Dead Meat, shout out Dead Meat, but I've never actively watched it myself. So seeing it for myself, it really like impressed me as a viewer. So because of that, I gotta give it like a 9 out of 10. Like everything, the characters, atmosphere, setting, the suspensefulness, the act. I don't know if I said acting. I might have said acting from the start, but the acting. No, I said characters at the start. There you go. The acting, the sound design, the gore, all of that was just like stellar, or impressed me so much that it's making me want to give it a 9 out of 10. So that's what I'll do. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Favorite film so far? I think if I figure out how to do it, I'll rank all of the films that I've seen, and by the end of it, hopefully this is still one of my top ones. This was a really good film, and I'm really impressed by it. I might go out of my way to go watch more of whoever the producer was, more of their work, because I really enjoyed this, and I hope all their work is as good, if not better than this. This is some quality stuff. Hope you all. I highly recommend this. And if you've seen it before and you might not like it, I'd say give it another watch. Maybe you might see some of the things that I'm talking about when you're watching it for a second time, or well, however many times you viewed it. And with that, that's my review. See you guys later. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, day, morning, afternoon, whatever you guys are, whatever your time zone is, and whenever you guys are watching this. And I'll see you when I see you. Peace, pimps. Like, comment, subscribe. We are somehow doing this. I don't know how. I'm so like behind the scenes. I'm so stressed out about this, but we're somehow getting through it. So if you guys, are excited and very surprised that I'm being consistent for once. Be sure to let me know. With that, once again, I'm out. Peace.